Hi guys, good morning. It is Dory. I am here with an update. I have been slacking and not making time for an update, so I apologize in advance. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Dory. I had vertical sleeve gastrectomy weight loss surgery on September 12th of 2016 with Dr. Darren Tischler in Hartford, Connecticut at Hartford Hospital. Excuse me. My highest recorded weight was 350 pounds. My surgery weight, day of surgery, was 300.5. And today I am 175.1. I have been fluctuating. I have seen the lowest 169.6. My goal for myself is 160, although when I went to my surgeon's office for my 2-year post-op in September, she had told me, the PA that's there told me that I have lost 80% of my excess weight, and so therefore they consider the weight now as a success. I had weighed that day at 178, I think, or 179 or 180. I don't remember, but I've been fluctuating back and forth. I have had issues with just eating sometimes too much, issues with going to the bathroom, things of that nature. So I was actually last week like 179. It was almost 180. And so being down about 4 to 5 pounds since last week, I contribute to a couple of things. One, as you guys may know from my previous videos, my husband left for basic military training. He is in the Air National Guard. He left this past Tuesday. It has been extremely difficult, to say the least. This is all new to me. I have had lots of friends who have been in the military, but I have never had a family member, especially a spouse, join the military. And so he is gone between basic training and his tech school. He will be gone for almost 6 months. So I will not see him through the holidays. The kids and I will not have him here for Christmas, Thanksgiving, his birthday, my anniversary, New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, things of that nature. And he comes back almost the 3rd week in April 2019. So he was able to leave on Tuesday morning. It was extremely hard. His parents were here for the weekend. We had a see you later party at our church for him on Sunday. Monday we hung out during the day with his parents while the kids were at school, had some of his favorite meals. And then Monday evening, we had some friends over to celebrate my daughter Mariah's 9th birthday. And so we did all that. And then that night, my in-laws were leaving. About 8 o'clock, we were getting ready to spend our last night together. And there was a knock at the door, and it ended up being a sheriff. And long story short, at the time I didn't know what it was, but I don't know if I ever mentioned to you guys, but about a month ago, I had witnessed a woman across the street beating her 8-year-old child. She is known to be very angry, very abusive, mostly verbally, from what I had heard over the last 6 months or so. But I finally got to see it with my own eyes, her being physically abusive. She has 4 children. 2 are in foster care, and she has 2 now, an 8-year-old boy who rides the bus with my daughter. He goes to her school, and a little girl who looks approximately 4 years old. So when I saw that, I could no longer be somebody sitting by and not protecting the child, so I called 911 immediately. And she had tried to leave in her vehicle. I motioned to the police officer where she was going. He pulled her over. Nothing actually came to be that day, but I needed to take it a step further, and so I filed a 51A report. For those of you not familiar with that, that is a report that someone who is mandated by the state law, I am in Massachusetts, needs to file a report if you suspect any signs of neglect and or abuse. I owned a daycare for over 10 years. I had many, many children in my daycare. This was years and years ago. It was like 95 to 2005. And anyhow, I'm not really technically mandated anymore, but I will always in my heart file where I need to file if somebody is hurting a child and no one else is speaking up for sure. I will be the one that will go to bat for them. And so I filed a report, and 3 days later, the children were taken out of her care. She had an open case on these two children anyways, and so that's why they removed them so quickly, is because of my report. So she lives across the street from me in a apartment building. When I did call that day, people had been witnessing her hitting him and beating him and yelling and verbally abusing him, but no one has spoken out. And so when I did it, I went outside and it was just full on adrenaline, mama bear, save this child. And so everyone started opening up their windows and thanking me and, you know, this and that. And oh my gosh, thank you so much. Finally, somebody did something. But my question is why haven't they done anything? This whole entire time, they live there. They see and witness and hear things that I don't get to hear. But in any event, the sheriff was at my house on Monday evening to just give me a summons to court to testify against her in the trial that she's on, or whatever hearing it was. I was a witness for the Department of Children and Families. And so I did that Tuesday morning. It got postponed until yesterday, so I'll fill you in on that in a minute. But as far as Tuesday morning, my husband leaving to military training, I made the decision that instead of going with my in-laws to drop him off at the airport, I would say my goodbyes from home. Only because, well, there's two reasons. One, I'm not good at long goodbyes. It's terrible. It's emotionally draining. And I don't think that that would have been best for either one of us. And so, and the second reason was that my in-laws are actually moving from New York City down to Charlotte, North Carolina within the next week. And so for them to come from our home, bring him to the airport, and then have to backtrack and drop me off, that's losing 45 minutes of their driving time to get back home to do their thing. And so I just thought it was best that we go ahead and say goodbye from home, which is what we did. And so it was a very rushed morning on Tuesday. I went from getting 4 children off to school between the hours of 7:50. The first bus comes, 7:55, the second bus comes, and then I had my mom come and pick up my 4-year-old and take her to school at 8:10, and they left at 8:20, about 8:25 possibly. And so it was extremely rushed. In about a half an hour, everyone was out the door, and I was standing there saying to myself, what on earth just happened? And I was alone, and it was very hard, very emotional. I'm able to talk about it more now that it is day 3. Today is Friday, November 2nd, and my husband has been at basic training for 3 days. So Tuesday, he was able to get to the airport. They dropped him off. He was able to call me and text me little pictures and videos from the plane. And then he had a layover, ironically, in Charlotte, where my in-laws are moving. He had about a 45-minute layover, and he was able to call me and text me and stuff from there. And then he got back on and went on to Texas. And so when he got off the plane, he was able to call me and text me and talk and just kind of be normal, which was great. I was looking forward to that. And so Tuesday wasn't really that much of a really sad, too sad. I mean, sad that he left, but I still got to talk to him and get some videos. And then, of course, he then went on to send me this most amazing letter via email. He sent me a text when he arrived in Texas to let me know that I could read it whenever. It wasn't a rush, but that he had sent me this letter. And so I'm not going to go into details because of course I'll cry. But the letter was amazing. It was just what I needed and what I need to read every day. And He was so thoughtful. He is an amazing, amazing man. And so he sent me this letter, and that was great. And so I have this letter, and then he had videotaped himself reading stories to the kids, some of their favorite books. So we have those, and we've been watching those, and we're going to be fine. We're doing fine. Everything will be fine. He will do the things he needs to do and be home in about 5.5 months or so. So we have been getting through that. That's been good. Wednesday was extremely hard for me. I felt so much emotion. Excuse me while I help myself to breathe here. And so Wednesday I felt a lot of emotion. I haven't been to the gym for, I don't even know how long, over a week. I think it's been a week. Just preparing him to go and everything. And then these days have been running into each other because I have so much to do to kind of get organized here. And so Wednesday was extremely hard. I cried for about the first 2.5 hours after coming back home from dropping my daughter off at school. A friend stopped by, my friend Lacey, who is also a military wife. Her husband was my husband's recruiter until he passed him off to National Guard and got him a different recruiter. And so she stopped by with a Starbucks iced coffee, a salted caramel, which I love. And so she sat here with me, and it was great, and it was fine. And then Wednesday I kind of got on with my day. I don't even remember what I did, but it goes by so quick, and I had to go get my kids from school. And then Thursday, which was yesterday, was now this testifying about the woman across the street who abused her children. And so I get into court, and the woman didn't realize, she doesn't realize who really I am or anything. I'm sure she probably realized that I may have been the one that called, or maybe she doesn't realize that. But in any event, they try to keep things confidential. She won't know whether or not I was the one who filed the 51A report, but she now knows I was the witness for DCF of what I saw, and I was the one that called 911. Basically, they try to keep it confidential, which is kind of laughable. They assign you a number when you get in there into the waiting room, but of course she was there. She was right by the desk. So when I walked in, I'm sure she recognized me as the neighbor who lives across the street. And they assigned me a number, but then they went ahead and followed up with a call, which was out loud in front of everybody, that the witness for DCF is here, number 19, which obviously was not confidential by any means. And so she just kind of kept looking at me and kind of staring me down. No big deal. I wasn't afraid or anything. I just knew that I needed to go in there, and I needed to be an advocate for this little boy and his sister, and that I was just going to tell the truth and just go about what I saw, and that was it. And so basically we waited for a little while, maybe 45 minutes, and then I finally got up and brought myself to the clerk magistrate's office and just let them know that I was waiting for the attorney for DCF, and that I was going to be waiting out here instead of being with that girl. And then I saw that she had an attorney with her, and so I kind of started getting a little nervous at that point, but I still just knew what I needed to do. Excuse me. And so she, so then the attorney for DCF came out to get me, and we went in, and it's just like you see on TV as far as a witness testifying. I have been in a court numerous times. I'm very, very familiar with court. I'm very comfortable with court. I have several family members who are in law enforcement, and I actually represented myself in a lot of cases. But my divorce from my first husband, I was in court a lot with him because he was a deadbeat, and I knew I needed to be an advocate for my children, and so I was in court a lot. I even represented my friend's brother who was on trial for murder, which is kind of funny. in the state we're from, I don't even know if that's everywhere, but anybody can really represent you. And so at one point I just had represented him. It was insignificant. He didn't get prosecuted. He got off. He was found not guilty. He passed away several years ago of a heart attack. But in any event, that's kind of a side note. So I was very familiar with the courtroom. So I walked in. It was a very small courtroom. The mother was on the left on a bench, and then there was like little, walls, short walls kind of. You walk in, and then I had to raise my right hand, swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. I do. I sat in this little box with a black microphone. I had to push my chair up. They said to make sure that they could hear me. And then they started questioning me. And so basically the attorney for DCF started by, can you state your name? Can you state your address? Asked me if I knew what this case was about and why I was there. I told her that I had called 911 and that I had seen a mother abusing her son. And then I just went on to say exactly what happened. I replay it back in my head, this poor kid being dragged by his mother, by the hood of his coat, his jacket, and her closed fisting, punching him in the head and hitting his head on the ground and into a metal railing. And it's horrible. I was very accurate and descriptive, which I know is very helpful in court. I tried to keep my composure. I was very, as a matter of fact. I did not get emotional, which was great because I didn't want to bring any emotion to it as far as, my husband leaving and me feeling sad and all that. And I also didn't want to say in front of her that my husband is not home because I don't know if this lady is going to seek retaliation or not. But in any event, after the attorney for DCF questioned me, I had her attorney question me, and she didn't really get anywhere with her questioning. She rested very quickly because she tried to at first say, she asked me, is my house, like how far away is my house? Could I have maybe not seen what I thought or whatever? And I told her my house is straight across the street. It is exactly straight across the street, and I have a full view from 2 huge windows on the side of my home. And then she asked me if after I saw what I saw, if I ever tried to approach the mom and talk to her about it. And I said, oh no, I am very afraid of her, and I would not do that. She went on to ask whether or not I had ever been to her home. I said no. She asked me if she's been to mine. I said no. She asked me if her son has been to my home, and I just said no. And then she said, has my daughter ever been there to her home? And I said, oh, absolutely not. Like, in that tone, to say that I love my children, I would absolutely, A, never send my daughter to a little boy's home, but B, not send my daughter to a crazed lunatic's home, who the day before she beat her son in front of all of us, she kicked her puppy down the stairs. So this woman needs help. She needs anger management. She needs a lot of help. Prayer is what's going to help her. I have been praying for her. My children and I every night pray for her and her son and her daughter and whoever else. I don't know if her kids are male or female that were already taken away. But in any event, and so that was my Thursday. I did that. I got home. I felt a little nervous because of not knowing whether or not she was going to retaliate. So anyway, so that was kind of Thursday. Got home, did some stuff with the kids. Oh yeah, Wednesday night was Halloween. Sorry, I forgot that. And the kids were able to go out Halloween trick-or-treating with my oldest daughter, who's 24. She lives with us. And I kept my 4-year-old home with me to hand out candy. Also, I forgot to mention that my husband was able to call me. There is a call that comes from Basic, from the trainee's cell phone. Excuse me. It comes from their cell phone within 72 hours because it's federal law that they have to provide you with an address to write your airman or soldier or whoever's in Basic So they will call you and give you that address. And so I was ready to let it go to voicemail because I had written a nice message or spoke a nice message to him. But he actually texted me the address and like a picture of the copy of the scripted thing that they read to you, and he copied that, and then he was able to call me and we got to talk for 3 minutes. So I was able to ask him questions about, you know, if he got his head shaved yet, he got his immunizations, how his bed was, how the food was, if he made any friends. If my 10-year-old wanted to know if the MTIs, which are military training instructors, or there's MTLs, military training leaders, if they were yelling and screaming and mean like we had seen on YouTube videos. And so my husband said that he had not been yelled at. There was some yelling. One person did go home already because they physically could not do the things that they asked them to do or whatever. And so that was a really nice surprise, being able to talk to him on Wednesday. And so now I will not be able to talk to him. He can't call home till, I think it's week of training 3 to 4, possibly 4. And he's in 0 week right now. So week of training 1 starts Monday. So it'll probably be around Thanksgiving. I'm assuming that he will be able to call, and I'm hoping he gets adopted by a family in the area. There are some families that are able to adopt the guys from Basic, and they can go to their home and enjoy Thanksgiving dinner with a family. So that's going to be nice. So hopefully he'll be able to call me. He won't get his cell phone back during that time, but if he's somewhere where they ask if he wants to use their cell phone and he's able to call home, that would be fantastic. So today my 9-year-old daughter is home. She is sick with a cold. And today would have been my husband's last paycheck from his civilian job. And lo and behold, yesterday as I was checking to make sure that it went in, because he was on vacation, but he gets paid for his vacations, it was not there. So luckily my husband thought of so many different things before he left, and he made me a list of numbers, one of which was his boss. So I texted his boss yesterday just to let him know, just so he is made aware, I am home with 4 children with no income, and this was his last check, and I will not get any military income for 2 to 4 weeks from now. It could be 8 weeks, but 2 to 4 weeks is what I believe it will be, since we had already started getting direct deposits from the military for his drill weekends. And so 2 to 4 weeks from now, I will get a pay of some sort. I don't think it's going to be that much. And so it's, you know, so I text the boss and let him know that we did not get a paycheck. He said he forgot to put it in. So today he's going to try to overnight me a check for that last pay. It's not a lot, but it's more than what we have now, and so that'll be great. Luckily, before he left, we stocked up on food, snacks for the kids, you know, all the stuff that we need. So we have food. We're fine. I paid all the bills up to date, and so now it's just the new month, and so of course it's the new bills coming due within the next week or so, and so I'm just trying to plan accordingly. Also, what else? I'm trying not to be nervous about Christmas and affording Christmas, because that is when he's graduating and I need to go down to San Antonio. To fly down, I need to figure out where I'm staying, figure out a car rental situation with no money. So anyhow, so if you guys can pray, I know God can do more than I ask or imagine through prayer. If you guys can pray for that, I can't wait to see my husband. I know it's only for like 4 or 5 days, maybe 5 days, that I'm able to see him before I have to leave to come back home, and he goes on to tech school at another part of Texas. So, funny thing is, from yesterday to today, I dropped a couple of pounds, which I'm not really sure how, since I'm not really eating anything but Halloween candy and chips. Maybe I'm not taking in a lot of calories. I just can't eat. I feel like I just miss my husband so much. I just don't even think about eating. I'm having protein coffees. 1 protein coffee a day with a Premier Protein shake. I'm getting my water in. But as I said, I'm eating just candy. I'm just grabbing stuff and going. Chips, Pringles, Cheetos, Kit Kats, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, Snickers. I had some chicken breast yesterday, deli meat with mustard. I have to remember to take my vitamins. I'm not taking them as I once was. So it's been hard. It's been really, really difficult. The bed you see here on this side, this pillow is my husband's pillow. I made sure that he slept on it about a week before he left after I had washed it, so it still smells like him, so I can smell it. I saved a couple of his t-shirts for the kids to sleep with because they smell like him. Of course, I have his spray deodorant that I am smelling. When I want a nice cry and I want to do it and torture myself, that's what I do, and I watch his videos that we had taped him of doing. We dance and cleaning and just doing quirky things and stuff. I watch them. I reread that wonderful email that he sent me numerous times, too many to count, but it's really good. I'm glad that I have this time by myself, especially when kids are at school all day. I am able to go to the gym, although I have to get back into my routine starting on Monday because I am so out of sorts. But if you guys can just keep me in your prayers for getting back on track to being healthy and to getting my groove on, and you know, for the kids and for my husband, please pray for him. Pray that he can do everything they need him to do at basic training. Pray for whatever job they assign him to. Pray for him to be able to not have back pain. He did ask when I did speak to him for that 3 minutes that he is having extreme back pain. I'm sure it's because they're having him do physical things that are working at his core. Just please pray that that goes away and that he does not go to med hold. That will prolong him being there. And so, yes, so if you could do that, that would be amazing. And I will update you guys when there's more things to update. And until then, have a good day.